Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take the stacks of white papers, research, and data from across the continent and, well, boil it all down for you.
And today, we are plunging into something huge. Europe's ambition, some might say its urgent need, to move toward a fully digital future.
It is huge. When you read the official documents, they talk about a new digital age. The vision is essentially a paperless world.
Right, a world where all that bureaucratic friction is gone,
Yeah.
replaced by systems that are efficient, fast, and resilient.
It's an amazing vision, and the journey's definitely started. But the pace, the depth, and I think this is the crucial part, the inclusiveness of it all, that's where the real debate is happening.
Okay, let's unpack that, because we need to look past the shiny tech idealism.
Exactly. We need to confront the reality of making this work across, such a diverse political, economic, and social landscape.
And you hit on the core problem. It isn't really about whether the technology is ready. For the most part, it is.
So what is it then?
The challenge is fundamentally social. It's political. It's economic. The real question is, can Europe digitalize in a way that includes everyone?
Because if it doesn't,
digital exclusion just becomes another way to reinforce the inequalities we already have. It's that simple.
So for you, the listener, our mission in this deep dive is to understand this really diverse community of people involved.
This huge group. It's not just citizens, of all ages and tech abilities. We're talking about SMEs, small and medium businesses, which are the absolute backbone of the European economy.
Then you have the multinationals, public authorities at every level, standards, bodies.
Policymakers, identity providers, the list goes on. And what the sources make crystal clear is that they are not all starting from the same place.
That uneven starting line, I think that's where we need to begin.
Absolutely.
So here's where it gets really interesting. If the goal is full, seamless inclusion, we have to talk about the biggest barrier. Just basic digital skills. What does the latest data actually show us?
The data is pretty alarming, actually. It really lays out the scale of the challenge. We're looking at figures from Eurostat.
The EU's official statistics body.
Exactly. And their 2023 data on digital competence. It reports that only 56% of EU citizens between 16 and 74 have what they consider basic digital skills.
56%. Let's just pause on that for a second.
We should. Because if only 56% have those foundational skills,
that means 44% of the population in that key age group lacks them.
A staggering 44%. That's nearly half the population starting way behind the curve in a world that's going digital first.
And it's not like that problem is evenly spread out, is it? The geographic disparity is just massive.
It really is. You have these clear high performers. Countries like, say, the Netherlands, Finland, Denmark.
Right, where basic digital skill levels are way up there. Somewhere between, 70 and 83%?
Exactly. They've clearly made huge progress. But then you look at the other end of the scale.
You've got countries like Romania, Bulgaria, Poland,
where skill levels are as low as 28%. 28 to 44%.
That's not just an inconvenience. That is a chasm. It threatens to lock in social and economic exclusion for decades.
And this gets worse when you factor in demographics. Europe has a high life expectancy. We have large older populations who just didn't get this training early on.
So if the digital train speeds up,
they risk being left at the station completely. This means we need targeted help. We can't just wait for a generational shift to fix this.
So a one-size-fits-all approach is doomed to fail.
Completely. A 70-year-old in a rural village needs a very different kind of support than a 25-year-old student in a city.
Okay, so given this huge skills gap, the solution has to be a coherent strategy. The sources we've looked at suggest it has to be built on three sort of interconnected pillars.
That's right. They all have to work together. Education, incentives, and what's called exception management.
Let's start with education, because, well, if you can't use the tools, nothing else really matters, does it?
Not at all. And a digitally empowered society doesn't just happen by accident. It needs to be built deliberately.
And the sources point to two goals here, right? It's not just about teaching people how to operate the tools.
No, that's only half of it. The other half is teaching them to trust the tools. You can build the world's best digital ID system, but if people don't trust it, or the government behind it, they just won't use it.
And that trust comes from feeling competent and secure.
Precisely. So the education has to be really accessible, especially for those most at risk, the elderly, low-income groups.
This means getting out of the abstract and into the practical.
Yes. Guided, hands-on learning, showing someone step-by-step how to securely file their taxes online is so much more effective than theory. and it can't be a one-time thing.
Technology changes too fast for that.
Way too fast.
Yeah.
We need a continuous learning philosophy, using places people already go to, libraries, community centers, to deliver that training on demand.
Okay, I understand the theory, but let me just challenge the practicality for a second. Are community centers and libraries really the answer? I mean, a lot of those places are already stretched so thin.
That's a critical point. And it comes down to investment?
It always does.
It does. If a country is serious about this, that last-mile education can't be an afterthought. It has to be treated like core infrastructure.
Like roads or power grids.
Exactly. It needs central government funding, dedicated instructors, the right equipment in those public spaces.
Huh.
If you don't commit to that, the skills gap just becomes permanent.
Agreed. Okay, so education creates ability, but ability doesn't guarantee people will actually participate.
Which brings us perfectly to the second pillar, incentives.
Right. I know how to use the old paper form. I trust it. Why should I switch?
And this is where governments have historically gotten it wrong.
Yeah.
They justify going digital by talking about their own internal efficiency gains.
Cost savings on paper, postage, staff time.
All things the citizen never sees. Those savings just sort of disappear into the budget. So the person feels like they're doing the government a favor by going digital and getting nothing back for it.
So how do we fix that? How do you make the value visible?
The framing has to become completely citizen-centered. You take those internal savings and you give them directly back to the individual.
So tangible benefits.
That's tangible. Visible benefits. Reduced fees for digital applications, a guaranteed faster response time, say 24 hours for digital versus a week for paper. Simplified procedures.
Things people can actually see and feel.
Yes, and you have to communicate it. Publicly highlight these digitization savings so people understand their choice to go digital is being rewarded.
What's fascinating here is that this isn't just a marketing problem. It often requires tearing down political and legislative hurdles.
Absolutely. A government might want to offer a discount, but the law could literally forbid offering different prices for the same service.
Many laws actually mandate service equity, that you have to offer the same service across all channels, digital, phone, paper, without favoring one over the other.
Which makes it politically risky to offer a much faster or cheaper digital option. Opponents will immediately cry foul, saying you're creating a two-tiered system.
Where the digitally savvy get a better deal and the vulnerable pay more and wait longer.
That is the absolute crux of the political challenge. To make incentives work, you need a new legislative framework that allows you to favor the digital channel, while also proving you've covered the vulnerable segments.
Which brings us neatly to that third pillar. So you can educate people, you can motivate them, but we have to be realistic. You're never going to get 100% adoption.
Never. There will always be a vulnerable minority, the final segment or the edge case problem.
And what do we do about them?
Well, this creates a real tension. If you keep a full, parallel analog system running offices, staff, printing, just for a tiny minority, your overall cost savings are massively reduced.
But you can't just shut those channels down. It's often illegal, and it's definitely unethical.
You can't. The solution the sources point to is targeted exception handling through what they call personalized assistance.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means you shift the focus away from maintaining expensive old infrastructure and toward high-quality human support for those who really need it.
So one-to-one guidance.
Exactly. Think of dedicated digital kiosks in public buildings with highly trained staff, or mobile support units that go to remote areas. It's about using human capital strategically.
That sounds powerful, but it also sounds like it creates a big governance challenge, especially with things like digital signatures.
A huge one.
If someone is helping you, they're essentially acting as your proxy. They're inputting your sensitive data. You need incredibly clear laws about delegated authority.
That governance piece is non-negotiable. You need rules. Who can assist whom? How is it logged? How do you verify consent when the person can't click the I agree button themselves? Without trust in that human helper, the whole system falls apart.
So for you, the listener, it comes back to an economic calculation.
It does. Governments have to ask, is it more economically viable, in the long run, to invest in these targeted assistance programs than it is to maintain a full analog system forever for a shrinking minority? The data says personalized assistance is better on both cost and quality of service.
So let's bring this all together.
Right.
What does this look like in a country that's actually doing it? We've talked about the theory education, incentives, exception management, but who's putting it into practice?
Well, the pioneer example everyone points to is Estonia.
Right. They're globally seen as the trailblazers here. They have this mature, integrated digital identity system where citizens interact with the state almost entirely online.
The stories are amazing. You can register a business in, what, less than 20 minutes?
Something like that. But here's the crucial detail that proves the point about the final segment. Even in digital-first Estonia, they still have front office paper channels. They exist for those who just can't or won't go digital.
They manage the exception. They don't deny the service. And Estonia is a great measuring stick for the rest of Europe. Their success wasn't just about technology.
No, it was sustained political will.
Strong governance, deliberately building citizen trust, and an investment that has been sustained over decades. It proves the roadmap works, but you have to be in it for the long haul.
Thinking 20 years ahead, not just to the next election.
And whether other larger European countries have the strategic vision and, frankly, the political commitment to follow that same demanding path, well, that's the big open question, isn't it?
A truly illuminating deep dive. We started with that harsh reality, the skills gap, that 44% of citizens lacking basic competence.
And we've laid out the strategy to fix it. Education builds the ability and the trust.
Incentives drive the motivation by making the benefits real and visible.
And sophisticated exception management using personalized assistance takes care of that last unavoidable mile.
So this leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider.
The ultimate barrier to achieving this inclusive digital future in Europe. It might not be the technology. It might not even be the skills gap.
What is it then?
It might be the political economy,
Yeah.
the ability of these very different political systems to find the collective determination and the funding to actually go the distance. It means moving beyond aspirations and committing to real long-term investment year after year until that 44% deficit is finally gone.